Hello, ladies and gents. No countdown today because I'm a bit late, aren't I? I'm always on time. Everybody knows this. How are you? Right. No, there's no countdown because I was playing around with it. Apparently, you can get rid of theirs and use your own Gucci one. And I've been playing around with my software, trying to make my own video with a Life on the Ocean wave or something else. Actually, it's quite good. I can use any soundtrack I like because I don't have a monetized channel. So even if I use some cool music by, the Rolling Stones or something, it doesn't fucking matter because who cares? I can use whatever I like. It's good, that, isn't it? Copyright infringement. Copyrights for losers. Real men use whatever they like and damn the consequences. Anyway, how's life? Decent number you're in, as usual. Kirky Bally, now then. Deb's Red. Who else? Jeff. Samuel Saxon. I said Samuel L. Jackson there. Davey Harris, Paul Tidywells, John Miles, Jay Wilson, Stevie Ray, Derek, Kirky Bally, regulars. You're all regulars now. Alan Lloyd, Two Tone, Matty Nung Wankbo. Great name, that. Great traditional African name. Glenn Parker. Who else have I missed? Davey Boy, Dave Rooney, Plague Marine. How you doing? Derek Thompson, Stevie Ray. Oh no, it's his brother. Stu Ray, Gruppenführer, Ragnar. Ragnar, I have to give a shout out because he said, make sure you do it. Ragnar always sends me good things on Twitter. So thank him from the bottom of your heart for sending me news stories. Carl Pollard, how are you? 51 North, Chris Collins, Julie Clark, Jim Flowers, Sadwings, Tomo, Lard Mac, JVP, Stevie Jones, everybody else, Paulette, Slip, Jack London. Hello, everybody. Right, that's done. I only do the Oxbridge pleasantries if I'm under 100. And I think I was at 68 there. Right. I've got loads to talk about now. There's about 8 stories on the BBC I wanted to go through today. The first one, amusingly, again, people like us have known this is coming for years. Years. The Chinese have got agents in Parliament. No fucking shit, Sherlock. The Chinese own us. They already own us. We've been sending our manufacturing base and our pharmaceutical production to China for fucking 30 years. The Chinese have been conquer deep in the American president for fucking decades. That's why the whole thing happened. There's a conspiracy theory that's why they leaked the fucking virus, isn't it? Because they reckon Trump was the only one who wasn't playing ball with them. So they went, yep, we'll fuck him. And again, we know the facts now, don't we, about that? They called it a conspiracy theory for 2 years. I was listening to Mark Stein yesterday, and he was like, yeah, basically, we know what happened now. It definitely, I mean, you lot in the chat that have been listening to me, we've been agreed on this for years. Of course, we know where it fucking come from. It wasn't a bloke eating bat soup. We know where it came from. And I talked about this a year ago. Fauci was going on TV and going, oh, yeah, definitely didn't come from a lab, definitely. And the same day, he was sending emails going, fuck me, it's come from the lab. It's like, Jesus, how much evidence do you need? The difference between a conspiracy theory, and again, I hold my hands up. The Bootneck always holds his hand up when he's wrong. I told Chris Straw, yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Don't believe in this, don't believe in that. The last 2 years has proven me wrong. Now, when I hear conspiracy theory, it's 50-50. In the old days, I was like, no, everyone who's a conspiracy theorist is a nutter. I was, sipping the Kool-Aid. Everyone is a conspiracy theorist, like Alex Jones with the fucking Sandy Hook shooters, and, Elvis is still alive, and the Loch Ness Monster's fucking roaming around on the moon. And it turns out now, honestly, it's like 50-50. And when I seen Alex Jones on Joe Rogan's show, I was astounded. All the mad shit he was coming out with. And he was fact-checking him in front. Like I've said before, the reason Joe Rogan's so popular is not because he's like some sort of savant. He isn't. And I listen to him, I like him. The reason he's good is because he's a good listener and he fact-checks people. And that's basically it. It's like he's managed to cash in, right place, right time, by just being a normal bloke. his stand-up shit. He's not fucking funny. I mean, I know that's a lofty claim from a man with 9,500 subscribers, but I'm funnier than Joe fucking Rogan. The man is not funny. He's not a genius of comedy. He's relatively amusing. He's a sound bloke, but his real skill is just he listens and he has bipartisan people on. He listens. He just sits there and asks normal questions and he lets people talk. And we've been so sorely served by the mainstream media and by the powers that be, that all you had to do was get a breakthrough and do the obvious. Let people with differing opinions talk and just sit there and listen to them and ask normal questions that a bloke in the pub would ask. And he's fucking quids in. He's took over the world. And again, fantastic, fair play to him. I'm a big fan. I listen to him all the time. I don't think it's because he's some sort of ingenious, he's not like some marketing guru or an autistic savant. He's just a normal bloke. That's all you have to do. Just listen to people and ask questions. And the mainstream media just failed utterly because they just want to spew fucking. They're all ideologues. They just want to spew one narrative at us constantly. And the general public goes, this is bollocks. I just want to hear people talk. You know, it's so easy. Yeah, Stu, I wouldn't like a kick off Joe Rogan. I reckon he's pretty nails like, but you know what it is? Again, every northern man understands this. You know why Joe Rogan's probably quite nails? Little man syndrome. He's a fucking midget. Have you seen him stood next to people? I think he must only be. I've seen a photo of him stood next to that Blair White. She towered over him. It's like he must only be about 5'3". And like every short ass, he's got a chip on his shoulder. So, yeah, he probably is fucking nails. I remember there was a lad in my school, he was a year above me, and he hated getting a piss about his size. And he was proper chewy as fuck. Like, he would probably be able to fill in most bog standard blokes. And we used to call him Paul Daniels. It's just like a little short ass. Paul Daniels, a magician. And if you called him Paul Daniels, he used to just start swinging, fucking windmilling on you in the middle of the corridor. Like, he was one of them blokes who's game as fucking would always have a go. But yeah, short man syndrome with Joe Rogan. He's a short ass, so he obviously does loads of fizz, lifts loads of weights, and practices folding people up all day. It's a good motivator, being a short ass. Oh shit, and that reminds me, some twat on Twitter was watching my stream yesterday, a rare nugget of disagreement, and he sent me a message saying, your stream was total bullshit. You said that Putin would be able to beat a social worker in a game of, in a worldwide game of Risk because he does loads of exercise. That doesn't even make any sense, you thick cunt. And the point I was getting at, I'm sure everybody in here is not an idiot, so you get it, but I'll repeat it on the off chance he's listening. That is relevant because when a bloke's in his 50s or 60s and he's still doing loads of fizz and he's still pumping iron and he's still going for a jog every now and then, he's still training his body, it proves that he's disciplined. He's disciplined and he's focused. So it is a fucking apt point, is it not? If you were ex-KGB and you let yourself go and you just sit on the fucking couch eating Twinkies all day, you're not disciplined, you're not practicing what you were trained for. But the fact that he still does fizz proves to me that he's got a disciplined mindset and he's still practicing those skills that he was trained for. That's why it's relative. So yeah, common sense. If you don't think he could outwit a fucking social worker like Malcolm and Cressida from The Modern Parents, a beardy weirdy social worker with a fucking stripy sweater on, talking about wigwams and fucking breathing exercises. If you don't think a fucking KGB guy could destroy a social worker, you're a fucking idiot. Again, mad that I have to say this stuff. You'd think the people in the media would be like, a social worker outwitting the KGB. Are you having a laugh? Unbelievable. So yeah, Theresa gets it. Ex-KGB versus a fucking social worker. I know my money's on as well. Again, is this an astute comment by me? I don't think so. Right. Oh, yeah. I'll probably be on for an hour today, you lucky bastards. I do spoil you. Because I need to talk about things that aren't related to the news, because there's two other things that's annoyed me. So I'll do them before I get through the news. And as Matty Nungwankbo says, healthy body, healthy mind. There's numerous reasons why a bloke being disciplined enough to go to the gym 5 days a week in his 50s or 60s has got a fucking... It proves something about internal contents, doesn't it? Right, so first up, let me just do this one. Where's my links here? I did share this a couple of days ago, but I don't think I talked about it on my channel. So look at this, right? The reason I think this is relevant is because of Prince Andrew. It's from the Buffalo Chronicle. And they've done a fantastic job of keeping this quiet. I want to talk about this story about Justin Trudeau being a fucking sex pest, because I think it's relevant to tons of things that are important that are currently going on in the world. First of all, I think it's relevant towards Boris Johnson. And second of all, I think it's relevant regarding Prince Andrew. Because, again, I always hold my hands up. I'm a man who believes in facing a difficult truth. I think I have to walk back what I said yesterday or the day before yesterday with regards to Boris Johnson. Because obviously, like I said, I'm not a political savant. I just read a lot and I listen a lot. It's not a fucking skill. I don't think I'm a high IQ political autist, but I just listen and I think. And when I was ranting about Boris Johnson and how much I utterly despise the man for his weakness and his ineptitude, and worst of all, is conning me because he said he was conservative and he worshipped Winston Churchill. And then he turned out to be fucking woke. I was ranting about it, saying that we have to get rid of him right now, right? And after listening to Mark Stein and reading Peter Hitchens' column every day, well, not every day, as often as I can. I don't methodically check the Daily Mail because fuck me, it's the Daily Mail. But basically, Mark Stein made a good point that the one thing you can take Boris Johnson at his word at is he does and did get Brexit done. And if we replace him, you can bet your bottom dollar that whoever replaces him is going to be a Ramona, which is now a Regina. And he was pointing out that basically we need to keep him where he is for the time being. Because if at any point he fucks off in the next 2 years, they will view it as being that much closer to getting us to rejoin the EU. And if you think that's beyond all plausibility, all possibility, you're a fucking lunatic. Because they really will rejoin the EU. They have absolutely no shame whatsoever. Seriously, if they could get away with it, democracy be damned. They'd have us back in the EU faster than a dog's cock. That's all they want. They don't care about democracy, and they prove that they don't care about democracy. They'll just do it. They really will. They will just stick us back in the European Union and consequences be damned. So I'm starting to think, better the more on we know for the time being. Oh, yeah, and I still need to get dudes on Twitch, so there's the link in the chat. Go and click on it and talk a bit of shit in there, because apparently you need to have like 5 viewers at once in the fucking chat. So please, if you can be asked, click on both and fucking mute one of them and type a bit of bollocks in the chat. All right. So yeah, Boris Johnson. I think we need to keep the fat, horrible, slimy albino jellyfish, at least for a short period of time. Because there is nobody who wants the job who's better than him. So I'm not saying we have to vote for him or vote Conservative in 2020. I'm not voting Conservative in the next election. But they'll stick us back in the European Union. And that would be more of a humiliation to me. That would be more of a national humiliation if we end up back in the EU next year than if fucking Osama bin Laden folded the Queen up and fucked her on the 9 o'clock news. That is the only thing I can think of that is more embarrassing. OBL. getting conker deep in the Queen's fucking cinnamon ring on the 9 o'clock news. That's the only thing I can think of that would be worse than us joining the European Union. It would be absolutely humiliating. So, what are you going to do? We've got to keep Boris Johnson. I love all the bollocks. I like the way you guys take me literally. Bollocks in the chat. Well done. Cheers. Reform Party, Dave Lampard. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be voting anyone else come 2024. I'm not voting for the Conservatives, but I'm just saying I'm walking back. Let's get Boris Johnson out this instant. And the other reason why I think it's a fair one is because, as this is going to show, and it's related to what I was talking about Boris Johnson and Prince Andrew, think about it, right? We are all being misled, right? We're being misled because we're easy to rile up. And as I keep saying, I'm guilty of it, right? We all get raged. You have to sit down. I think one of the reasons I'm good at cerebrally thinking about things once I've calmed down is because I like to exercise. I like to get on my rowing machine and lose myself in like an audio book or a good album. And as I'm gently pulling away, because don't use that as a double entendre, because I'm not gently pulling away when I'm pulling myself off. I'm fucking going for it like that. Yeah, I can go for it so fast, like my pubes are going to burst into flames. It's like friction burns on my balls. So that wasn't a double entendre. When I'm gently pulling away, my mind just goes, and that's when I start to digest all the things that are going through my head. And you have to calm down, because you don't make logical decisions when you're angry. What's that? Logged into both second slows. Yeah, if it's a second slower on Twitch, Jim, just lower the volume all the way down on it, right? And then it still counts as a viewer, and you can listen, and you don't have to hear me twice. So you have to calm down. Even me, when I'm punching holes in my desk with my rage boner, yeah, you have to calm down, and you have to think to yourself, am I being logical in the cold light of day? And I was rash with Boris Johnson. For the time being, we need to keep him. Because if he goes this week, they'll fucking have us back in the EU by Christmas. I'm telling you. They do not give a shit. They're completely shameless. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to quickly cover this story. So did anybody know Justin Trudeau was a fucking nonce? Did anybody else know that? Because I think they've done a staggering job of keeping it quiet. The Buffalo Chronicle, by the way, and I went right to the foot of that because I wanted to add some credence to the story. These are all the people saying it's fake news, all the fucking lefties. If you go up and read the foot of the story, obviously Snopes say it's bollocks. It says, where are we? And fucking hell, how many comments are on it? Here we are. It says at the foot of it, look, the Buffalo Chronicle has never in our entire operating history been sued for defamation or any other matter. We have never once received a cease and desist letter from the subjects of any article since we began publishing, and we have not received such a cease and desist from Mr. Trudeau. So the fact that he hasn't sent them a cease and desist tells me he's thinking about the Streisand effect. He's obviously being counselled by lawyers much cleverer than him. And they've said, listen, if you go on about it, people will find out about it. So obviously the MSM and Silicon Valley are in his pocket because he's a fucking left-wing globalist cunt. So they're keeping it quiet. But the story's quite staggering. He said he was shagging a fucking little girl when he was a teacher. And they spoke to the father. There's the photo of him. Look, Mr. Trudeau, the fucking sex pest. He said the relationship was discovered several months after his father died. So they're saying it was because he was emotionally vulnerable. And it said it was when he was teaching at Vancouver's prestigious West Point Grey Academy. And the father wasn't included in the gagging agreement. And when they said to that, they don't tell you exactly how old she was, but it says the underage accuser was much younger at the time of their relationship than first thought, her father told the Chronicle. Some in the public discourse pegged the accuser at 17 years old. That is inaccurate. She was much, much younger than that, the wealthy Canadian businessman told the Chronicle. So if she was much younger than 17, she'd be what, 14 or 15? The father said she was much, much younger than 17. So, like, full on Nancy sex pest. And this is again why I'm bringing it up, because it's tied in with Boris Johnson and Prince Andrew. It's like they control the narrative. The mainstream media controls the narrative. Silicon Valley control the narrative. And they know that paedophilia plucks at your heartstrings straight away. It's hard to make a sensible, rational, coldly logical decision when you're talking about fucking nonsense, because everyone knows that children are innocent. There's nothing more evocative that makes you angry, because kids are innocent, kids are victims. So as soon as you read about nonsense, you go, and you're fucking ready to kick off. But you've got to stay as rational as possible and think to yourself, are we being misled? Because the point I'm getting at is Trudeau's shafting of whatever she was, 13 or something, a fucking kid. But we don't hear about it. Boris Johnson was getting pissed during lockdown. But guess what? All of them were. All of them were. Nancy Pelosi going to get her hair done during lockdown when everyone was... It was all over the news for a couple of days, but then off under the carpet it went. Macron, Merkel, that big picture of them all at the party getting pissed, watching the red arrows. But why are we only talking about Boris Johnson? It's to drive the wedge in and make us turn against the fucking one bloke who has a shred of something in common with us. So I was wrong to get as angry as I did. You've got to calm down and think about it. COP26, as Tic Tac says. So think about it. Think about it. We've all been misled. All we've had for a week is Boris Johnson broke lockdown. Keir Starmer broke lockdown. All the Lib Dem leadership, all of the MPs broke lockdown. Labour broke lockdown. The Lib Dems broke lockdown. Sturgeon and the SNP, that fat weasel Blackford, they broke lockdown. Because they think the rules only apply to us and not to them. We know this. The governor of California, Newsom, he was constantly taking the piss. He was having extravagant parties. He was leaving his winery open while everybody else's was closed. They all do it. Pelosi did it. Biden did it. All the Labour Party do it. All the fucking leadership of all of the fucking political elites all do it. But they've been getting us wound up about Boris Johnson. So it's part of the plan, isn't it? My plan. So what I'm getting at is I'm not rolling back my refusal to vote for them. I'm not going to vote Conservative in 2024, but I have relaxed on the get rid of him right now, because every single one of them does it. We've all seen the pictures. Every single one of them does it. Every single one of them. Keir Starmer, shitbag. Sturgeon, they're all at it. So let's not get outraged about Boris Johnson. And the same thing is what I'm talking about with Prince Andrew. The one who was outraged at Prince Andrew, because Prince Andrew is fucking the enemy of the fucking communist revolutionary, right? They've always been Republicans, but always been against the royal family. And old fence-sitting conservatives like me are like, yeah, who cares, right? It's been there for fucking centuries. I'm not exactly a royalist, but it's been there for ages, and I am a conservative, so who fucking cares? Leave it where it is. So they're going on and on and on and on about Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew's accuser was basically fucking legal age. In England, she was legal age. She was 17. How far was she off 18? It's like, it's difficult because it's chronological. But the point I'm getting at, Prince Andrew's behaviour was merely detestable. Powerful old men, dirty old men in the 50s or 40s or whatever he was, shagging teenage girls is fucking dirty. But they all do it. They all do it. Silvio Berlusconi's fucking shagged more teenagers than fucking Fred West, right? This is what they do. Again, is what Prince Andrew did worse than Justin Trudeau fucking a 13-year-old when he was a teacher? I fucking don't think so. And how much fucking cock had she had anyway by the time she fucking met Prince Andrew? Seems to me she's a fucking after the money. And she was going, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. If I can make millions of dollars shagging old blokes, I'll do it. So the legal age in America is 18. Ragnar, because America's fucking the way it is. It's quite puritanical. It was set up by fucking Puritans. I should be his defense lawyer. Yeah. Imagine me as his defense lawyer. Hey, I'd suck cock for money and I'm straight. My lord. Hey, my lord, 100 grand, I'll fucking chew you off in front of the gallery. How's that? No? Yeah? So, again, it is all of them. I'm not sticking up for the bloke. It's detestable. But is it more detestable than a teacher fucking a child? Is a dirty old man in his 40s shagging a 17-year-old worse than a teacher fucking a 12-year-old? I don't think it is. I think it demonstrably fucking isn't. So do you see the point I'm getting at? I'm not defending Prince Andrew. I'm not defending Boris Johnson. They're all cunts. But why do we only focus on Boris Johnson and Prince Andrew when beloved by the media woke globalist cunt Justin Trudeau was a teacher fucking children, which is way worse. That's jail. If you shag a 13-year-old who you're in charge of the class, that's fucking jail, you cunt. You get teachers shouldn't be shagging children. And again, one thing I will say as well, I was discussing this with my missus this morning about the fappening. Those of you that don't know about the fappening, it was an amusing portmanteau between the word fap, which is wanking, and the happening, which is the film, because it was like 2014 and Jennifer Lawrence and all the slags who basically banged their way into Hollywood. Loads of photos got leaked of them. And to Jennifer Lawrence's credit, she's never had a go at Harvey Weinstein, has she? When everybody knows Harvey Weinstein she sucked Harvey Weinstein's balls fucking hardcore to get put in the Hunger Games, allegedly. I have to say that, apparently. Even if you're a Mickey Mouse channel like that. Fair play to her. I'm not judging anyone for sleeping with someone for money. But don't call it rape. I'd do it. Seriously, I'd fucking do it. Because we all have different plateaus in our mind. We all have different feelings and we all have a different tolerance for uncomfortable situations. And this is the point I've made about Bill Cosby and Weinstein and that. And in my opinion, Prince Andrew's accuser, I believe, especially the older ones, some of them Epstein girls were in the 20s. I've seen them on the fucking documentary. Some of them got raped, but some of them were just doing it for money. So if you're one of Bill Cosby's accusers and you went out with him and he drugged your drink and he raped you, and then you never ever saw him again, yeah, you got raped. But if you're like Jennifer Lawrence or one of these fuckers who said, oh, he raped me 15 or 16 times over a 2-year period, you're not a rape victim. Maybe possibly the first time, but at some point you crossed over from being the helpless victim of rape and became the gold-digging slut who knows for a fact that Bill Cosby is going to fucking donkey one into you, but you're still going to go and see him 11 more times because every time you go and see him, he buys you a fucking handbag and a pair of Gucci shoes. That's not rape. You'll be seeing Savile in the safe soon. Savile. Again, I know this is controversial, but did you see what I'm saying? I'm not excusing being a fucking cunt, but there has to be degrees because civilized people have degrees of everything. There's degrees of murder, right? A first-degree murder is worse than a third-degree murder. Manslaughter isn't murder. If you accidentally kill someone, you're less of a cunt than fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. There's degrees. And people like Jennifer Lawrence, to her credit, haven't come out and went for him because she's basically thought, you know what, I took the money. He said, blow me and I'll put you in fucking 4 films. So I did. Happy days. And I'm not judging Jennifer Lawrence because we all have a different level of what we're willing to tolerate, right? I think 9 out of 10 women that got propositioned by Harvey Weinstein have character and integrity, and they told him to fuck off, and they got on with their lives, and because they fucked him off, they didn't get any acting gigs, and now they're probably working in a bank. And fair play to them for having the intestinal fortitude, the integrity, and not being obsessed with money. But lots of them made the decision to take the money to get the role. And that makes you an extremely well-paid prostitute. And I'm not judging those women, because if you have the right to decide, am I going to fucking suck Greenback's cock for a 6-movie deal? And if you decide to do that, fair play to you. That's probably what I'd do, because I'm a bit of a fucking creature, right? We've all got different tolerances. A lot of women couldn't stand the thought of sleeping with a man for money, but some could. My missus said I'm just generally a thick person. We noticed this when I was giving her a foot massage once, and I was rubbing her foot, and I was like, if I close my eyes, it feels like I'm rubbing a fucking beer mat. There's just no weight to her. And she was like, yeah, you're just a thick person. I don't know whether it's thick nerves or a thick body or a thick mind, but in general, I'm not a feeler. I'm not emotionally a feeler. I'm not physically a feeler. My taste buds are shot. We always blamed it on too much Tabasco sauce when I was living off MREs. But basically, I might just be just not a feeler in general. I've got a very, very high pain tolerance. I've got a very, very high emotional pain tolerance. You know, grief doesn't unman me. I've got lots of so I think I'm the type of personality. If I was a woman, the ugliest, hairiest woman in the world, if Harvey Weinstein said to me, give us a gobble and I'll put you in 3 films, I'd be on his cock like white on rice. He'd be like, if you took me, I'll put you in, and I'd be on him. He'd be like, Jesus, fucking, that's what I'd be like. Because that's my personality. So I'm not judging Jennifer Lawrence and any of the, or Rose McGowan, who took the money. But don't come back later and tell me you got raped. Rose McGowan. He put her in Scream. He basically said, suck me off and I'll put you in 3 Scream movies. And she went, go on then. And then she waited 20 fucking years till she's old and fat and ugly and nobody wants to put her in any more films. And then she goes, oh yeah, you raped me. Don't do that. If you come 10 fucking years later, you didn't get raped, did you? You took the money, you fucking did the films, and then only when your career was finished, 15 years down the line, you go, oh yeah, rape me. I don't believe it. I'm not fucking having it. So anyway, that was a long rambling rant, which culminated in me giving Harvey Weinstein the gobble of his life. I would hum the national anthem with Harvey Weinstein's balls in my mouth from beginning to end for fucking 3-movie deal. I'd be all over that shit, and I wouldn't want judging by you cunts. When Harvey had finished with me, I would have a ring piece like a gutted fireplace. Just, it would look like a grenade had gone off in my shit locker. So there you go. I'm not judging people who do it, but I'm simply pointing out you're not the helpless victim of rape if you did it for the money. All right? And at no point am I attempting to defend sex pests, nonces, and rapists. I'm just saying civilized people have a degree. Brokeback. That's a great one. Brokeback Bootneck. Yeah, if I met Harvey Weinstein and he offered me a 3-movie deal, I would be broken back Bootneck. I would let him bum me till my fucking head fell off. Right. That's enough. That's enough talk of Bootneck getting raped. Let's have you discussed the nonce Prince Andrew? I have, Julie, and amazingly, I've been attempting, at least in some way, to mitigate on behalf of Prince Andrew. It's a long story. You'll have to go back and watch the whole thing. Right. What else can we talk about? So, yeah, the point is, Trudeau's a nonce, Andrew's a nonce, but there's degrees of noncery, and you're going to have to pick, right? So I put Andrew's noncery about there and Trudeau's noncery fucking up there. Yeah, and the only thing above that is fucking shagging 2-year-olds. Fred West shit, whatever. But, yeah. There's a pecking order. Oh, yeah, and I still haven't got to the news. There's something else I wanted to tell you about. Let's quickly jump into that. I want to put on Macquarie. Right, so you'll fucking love this one. Where are we? No, not that one. That one. So look at this twat here. Right? This stuff it boggles my fucking tiny mind. Hang on, that's a bit shit in it. You can't see it very well. Let me play with it. See if I can. This fucking dipshit. How's that? think that's the best I'm going to get it. Right. 1 year after the UK left the European single market, the UK is forecast, typo, to be the fastest growing economy in the G7, and the pound is up 10%. Did anyone predict this? And this guy put, lots of mainly right-wing economic think tanks predicted this, but it hasn't happened, has it? Sterling is still down. France grew twice as fast as the UK, where incompetence rules. Yeah, like France. They go through fucking republics, like I go through socks. And apparently we should be taking advice from France how to run a country. And it's got Johnson saying, is that Alexa? I said sunlit uplands. Yeah. And he's just taking the piss out of people and being a typical talking down, being a fucking prick to everybody. And Roger White there said, oh, but this is the latest IMF economic forecast. Sterling, they said it's all right. Things are going to get better. And he's like, look, Roger, you can wank off over forecasts and make you feel irrelevant about Brexit. Just a typical smarmy, conceited, arrogant, Guardian reading, fucking Ramona twat. And I said to him, I occasionally enter into arguments with these people. I don't know why I fucking bother. But I said to him, here, mate, you could argue that it's been a pig's ear because the Tory government's fucking incompetent. And I said, but you missed the point. And this is the point I've made many times, right? I didn't vote in the Brexit fucking referendum. Because thinking about it in the cold light of day, again, while I'm on my rowing machine, thinking about it all, I thought, you know what? I'm a conservative, right? I like the status quo. If I'm totally at a loss to make a decision, I lean towards the status quo. So I thought, you can make an argument both ways. I won't fucking bother. So you can't call me a Brexiteer. I didn't vote for it. But I only became militant. Nigel Farage with piles and a hangover. Yeah, that's the Angry Bootneck. Fucking angry. I only became militant when it became obvious that the scumbag, globalist, lefty shills that run the fucking world don't like democracy. And I said to him, you missed the point. We had a referendum. Whether you think it was a good idea or not, the public voted for it. I said, people like yourself are basically saying, yeah, okay, 75% of Hartlepool voted for it, but fuck it. I'm much cleverer than you. I said, you call yourselves liberals. And the other thing about them, again, they keep repeating it, that it's the rich elites. The rich elites want it to remain. Just remember that whenever one of these twats talks down to you. The rich elites want it to remain. I said, every big bank, every large media group, from the BBC down, 90% of probably 98% of Parliament, and the House of Lords, and they keep saying, oh yeah, the elites, trick the little guys. You're the elites, you fucking thick bastard. You don't get to side with the fucking big banks and the big corporations and Silicon Valley and Parliament and the House of Lords and go, oh yeah, the elites in Hartlepool, you cunts. You are the elites. Right? How hard is this to figure out? Big banks, big corporations, Silicon Valley, BBC, Parliament, House of Lords, elites. Scaffolders from fucking Sunderland, not elites. Bus drivers from Leeds, not elites. How difficult is this? Jesus fucking wept. And look at this dopey twat's response. This is brilliant. His response was, so 75% of Hartlepool got conned. I feel like I'm getting thicker just reading his fucking stuff. 75% of Hartlepool got conned and suffered mass psychosis, and we all just have to accept that because that's democracy. Really? Yeah. Yeah. And the best thing is these twats go, oh yeah, no, we don't think you're thick. You just struggle to comprehend. You think we're thick. 75% of Hartlepool got conned and suffered mass psychosis. That is a polite Guardian reader way of saying everyone in Hartlepool is a thick cunt and Guardian readers know better, so Hartlepool should do as they're fucking told. That is Guardian reader rhetoric for thick bastards. Got conned. By definition, if you got conned, you're a fucking idiot. You're naive. You got conned. Or you suffered mass psychosis, man. Fucking Malcolm and Cressida language. You suffered mass psychosis. You think thick people are beneath you. And if you lose an election, fuck them because you're cleverer than them. That's what twats who read The Guardian and work for the BBC think of your vote. Sorry, we might have lost by 1 million votes, but we're cleverer than you, so we're just going to do what we think anyway. If that doesn't make you fucking angry, if that doesn't make you utterly despise the people on the other side of this argument, I don't know what else I can say to you. They don't care if they lose elections. It's the definition of authoritarianism, right? 1 million people voted against it, and we beat them by, I didn't vote, I abstained. The Brexiteers beat the Ramonas by 1 million votes, and their response is, yeah, but they got conned and they suffered mass psychosis. That's thick cunt, yeah? Thick cunt. Got conned, suffered mass psychosis is Marcus Lasance. He's even got a fucking Ponzi name. Marcus Lasance sounds like a fucking baron, right? Baron Lasance said, fuck Hartlepool, they all suffer from mass psychosis, they're a bit thick. What a wanker. It's like, if I hadn't seen the other 500 bollocks post he'd made, you would assume that was a Brexiteer lampooning a Remainer just to make them look like twats. That is how lacking in self-awareness they are. So they basically just admit it. We think you're thick, and it doesn't matter if we lose elections because you're thick, and we know best. So fuck them. There's my witty response. Fuck them. Allow me to compose an eloquent response, Baron Lasance. Suck my fucking beanbag, you dopey, pig-ignorant, lefty shitbag. And these are the people who think they're clever. They're clever, but he hasn't got the common sense of a house brick, because if he did, he'd know that typing something like that is a fucking invite to just get pulled to bits by an angry mob. What a fucking chiseler. There you go. I don't need to say anything else. If you ever thought, maybe we should just go back in the European Union, this is what people think of you. They suffered mass psychosis, bro. Fuck you. I will defy them till the very end. I would rip out my own heart and fucking eat it instead of bend an inch to give some whiny, weaselly, backstabbing, nefarious, slimy shitbag like Marcus Lasance the steam off my shit. They do not care about the democratic process, and that doesn't just make we're having a polite disagreement. He is my enemy. If people want to stomp all over your right to tell them what to do, those fucking slithering snakes in the House of Lords, if they think that you are too stupid to have the right to choose to be a free man or woman and determine which direction you want your country to go in, they are your fucking enemy. At least people like Keir Starmer are not stupid enough to say it out loud. Marcus Lasance is a fucking worm. And his words condemn him as a traitor. 75% of the town voted for it. And he's like, yeah, they got conned. They suffered mass psychosis. So we'll do the exact opposite. You fucking worm. You are lower than a gecko's ball sack, Mr. Lasance. I despise you and all of your ilk. Right. Fucking hell, that's nearly an hour and I haven't even got to the news. It's almost as if I have a gift for talking shit constantly, isn't it? I'll do one before I leave. I've got to do one. So what do we want? We've got Chinese spies. We've got Alabama ISIS brides. We've got France is letting in people from the UK again because it's a failed state with the fucking economic nuance of a crack whore with a gambling addiction. We've got loads of good stuff. The puzzle of America's record COVID hospital rate. That's a good one to talk about because it makes me laugh. How how the BBC asks these questions. It's a puzzle. It's not a puzzle. It's not a puzzle. The hospitalisation rate's higher in places, despite it being Omicron, in places like fucking Mississippi. Yeah, where everyone's a fat knacker and they live off chicken tendies and fucking butter. And they're going, oh, it's weird, this. Not that weird. What do you mean, the puzzle? I remember having this out with people when they were talking about the UK's COVID strategy, saying, oh, yeah, you can see the UK's COVID strategy is not working as good as like hardcore, nail your testicle to the kitchen table so you can't go out at all. Definitely better to do that because you can see the UK's got more sick people. And I was like, yeah, but these are complicated things, aren't they? Because there's dozens of different contributing factors to COVID statistics. Again, why does a bootneck have to say this stuff? This is like common sense shit. You know this when you're 14 and you do GCSE biology and you do an experiment, fucking dissect a frog. It's like there's numerous things to consider, right? And that's called a multivariate analysis. And then if you only consider one thing, it's univariate. So they always go, don't just do univariate when there's multiple factors. You have to do a multivariate. So when they say, oh, look at this, Britain's got fucking 0.8% higher COVID mortality rate than fucking Switzerland, therefore it's all down to the lockdown. You're like, but that's bollocks. And you don't need to be a mathematical genius to know it because there's dozens of things that affect your mortality rate with COVID, and we know it. We know it. Drinking, smoking, exercising, obesity, diet, prior. Fucking my brain's gone blank. You've been exposed to it in prior weeks or what have you. There's numerous things to think about with regards to the mortality rate. And I was like, yeah, so a country like fucking, even things like as simple as this, a hilly country that's sunnier, probably people go out walking a lot more. It's one reason why California, right, will be healthier than Mississippi. It's not just because of money. It's probably because of loads of things. California is healthier than Mississippi because of like money, because of climate, because of the landscape. There's numerous fucking reasons. Why do you think Australia is better at swimming than England? It's not just because, oh, there's some sort of genetic deficiency in England and they all have, Australians have a genetic quirk that gives them webbed feet. No, you can sit there and go, maybe it's because of the climate. Maybe you're more likely to own a swimming pool. Maybe there's different tax codes and it's cheaper to go to the baths. There's fucking loads of things you think of. So my point was, if Britain's got slightly higher COVID death rates, maybe it's because we love pissing up and fucking smoking tabs and eating kebabs more than people in hilly, green and pleasant, sunnier places. Maybe in Spain, the weather's nicer. There's more outdoor spaces. They get more exercise. They drink less booze, whatever. There's loads of things to think about. And the BBC are like, oh, it's a puzzle. Why has America still got a high COVID death rate? Well, what's the fattest country in the fucking developed world? I know this without even having to fucking think about it. They're going to have higher death rates in fucking Mississippi than they are in California, aren't they? Climate, landscape, loads of fucking things. Diet. But it's only a question for left-wing ideologues who approach every single story with, we already know the answer. We already know the answer to everything, and we have to look for evidence to support it. We know what we think about climate change. And again, how many times have I made this with regards to these lefty cunts? We know what they think about everything. The corollary, it's not true if you take it the other way, is it? If a conservative like me, you don't know what I think about things. You don't know whether I'm pro or anti-abortion or euthanasia or gun control or how I'm going to approach things economically or crime and punishment or the death penalty. You don't know how I stand on any of them based off my loose small c conservative values because I'm all over the place. But with a left-wing ideologue, you know what they think about everything. Everything. I know what Ash Sarkar thinks about everything. I know what she thinks about economics and how she would approach every economic problem. I know what she thinks about the size of the state. I know what she thinks about abortion. I know what she thinks about euthanasia. I know what she thinks about gun control. I know what she thinks about religion. I know what she thinks about feminism. I know what she thinks about the LGBTQ plus fucking I community. I know what she thinks about every single subject under the sun because she's a fucking ideologue. And that is who we're getting our news off. People who fucking know, who think they know the answer to every question before they even think about it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why the BBC Spews is doing you a service, because the actual BBC News is filling your head with raw, unfiltered cow shit 365 days a year. And if there was any justice in the world, that fucking building would get bulldozed and the earth would be salted and we would deny that the BBC ever existed, let alone pay for it with our own tax fucking payers' money. We're paying for our own destruction. Right, that was loads of ranting for one day. I didn't even get through half the stories I wanted to talk about, but fuck it. If I remember, we'll do them tomorrow. I'm even on tomorrow. I don't even know. I'll have to check my timetable. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, as always, for everything. Thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing it and all of that bollocks you typed in chat. Much appreciated. I will see you all very soon. Listen to Julie Clark. And hit the like button for all the fucking difference it makes. Because Susan doesn't give a monkey's fart about like buttons, does she? Not when people disagree with left-wing ideologues. Right, I'm off. Have a good night. Sleep fucking tight. See you all very soon. Cheers.